This is Wendy Wright. She's going to introduce me, so I shall step out of the picture. She'll put you in the picture, and then I shall return.
That's right. It won't take long. So I want you to have the time. This is my very good friend Donall Dempsey. I've known him for a long time. We taught together in East London in a school in Leighton called Beaumont, and he was an inspirational teacher, and he is an inspirational person, I have to say. He is very well known on the poetry circuit in London, and he has a huge reputation. He's on YouTube. Lots of people have seen Donall and wish to see a lot more of him.
Especially my wife.
His shirt. And I will just introduce this. This is his book that he's got out, which looks absolutely wonderful. I really think it's very, very good. And he says he's fluent in English and Irish, and he's fluent in utter nonsense. He said, I'm in a relationship with myself at the moment, but it is complicated. I cannot see eye to eye with myself. I've tried it, but I get cross-eyed, so it looks like to me that I might split and we may go our separate ways. So this I introduce to Donall. Enjoy.
Bonjour ma petite jolie amie, comment ça va? Ça va? Bien? Je m'appelle Donall, et maintenant, Mothering Instinct. This is a poem I wrote for my little girl. Tears, tears, well, but don't fall. Bottom lip trembles, top lip quivers, and just before she can begin to howl, I howl. I open my mouth and bawl. Stunned, she stares at my open mouth with nothing but sobs coming out. I'm crying because you were gonna cry. I manage to blurt out, trying not to laugh behind my crocodile tears. She climbs up on my lap, a sturdy little foot on each patella, wipes my fake tears away with her hair. Oh, Donall, Donall, not cry. Big boy, not cry. Silly Donall, cry. Shh, she shushes me, kissing me guilty of unleashing my 4-year-old's mothering instinct. Thank you. This is called Clothes Have No Memory. John, did you choose that short or that?
Yeah.
It didn't choose you.
No,
John
no,
is
no.
under the illusion that clothes have memories, but that's not true. Clothes have no memories. Your most prized dress must confess that it cannot remember the swell of your breast, the rise and fall of your breathing. Clothes have no memory. It is winter now, and your summer frock has entirely forgot the sheer sudden shockiness of being underneath it all absolutely Nicholas. Kisses like butterflies alighting high, high, and your inner thigh, thigh. Don't even go there, John. Clothes have no memory. Your bra, unhooked, unhinged, cannot really recall the thrill of it all as my hands with each caress create your breast. Clothes have no memory. Clothes have no memory, but I do. Thank you. And this is a delightful little ditty called Autopsy. You made the opening incision with almost clinical precision. Took the heart out, found it wanting. Took the top off the head, removed the mind. What exactly was it you expected to find? I looked at you with sad eyes that said, it wouldn't have hurt half as much if you'd only waited till I was dead. I got paralysed about 6 years ago in school, and it was a long day's journey back into night. I had to learn how to talk again, how to speak, how to eat, all that thing. Took me a year to be able to blink my eye again. So happiness was something I wasn't very good at. And there's two things I'm not very good at, mathematics and happiness. So this is called Parallel Lines Do Not Meet. It was the only thing that I could understand in maths. Happiness is not a mathematical formula that one can apply to supply an answer. Rather, it is the sum of who you are multiplied by who you are willing to be. Happiness, like mathematics, is something I was never ever any good at, and always made me weep with equal parts desperation, exasperation and frustration, or DEF for short. For example, if it took a man a lifetime to dig himself a hole, how long would it take for half the man he used to be to dig himself out again? Questions such as this only cause me grief. In mathematics like Latin, which I could also never know, I would cheat and repeat words full of sound and no sense, e.g., the cares of the hippopotamus are equal to some of the cares that the other two hippopotami can find. Happiness, like mathematics, was all Greek to me. I don't know, that's all I know. But I do know that happiness happens every now and then. The only trick is to be aware that it's there and that parallel lines do meet at infinity. Q-E-D. Thank you. This is a poem from my Uncle Shawnee. My Uncle Shawnee was this great, big, strong man. He was like Lenny out of Mice and Men. And I never knew my grandfather, but on my grandfather's death, Shawnee had a breakdown and never really recovered. And then I was just left with a big, strong uncle who heard voices at night, and we just thought, well, that's just Shawnee. He screams and shouts at night and stuff like that. But I love Shawnee to death. So this is, and my Uncle Nellie used to treat him lower than the children. So she'd scold Shawnee lower than, and this is called We Are Legend, We Are Myth. Donall, Shawnee, Shawnee, Donall. My uncle and me, we are legend, we are myth. Escaping from my auntie's voice, tracking us down. I sitting in the saddle of his neck, his curls my reins. Travelling the world on his giant shoulders. My uncle hearing voices in his head, afraid of other humans who hunt the thoughts he's thinking, wanting to keep himself for himself. Our beings fused into one joyfulness. Uncle and boy morphing into centre. We are legend, we are myth. We hide in haystacks from our hounding voice, roam fields wherever empty spaces takes us, until there is only us, he more little boy than even I. Keep me company, he pleaded, his thoughts all curly like his hair, we now one another, the last lost centre galloping off into time that no longer exists. We are legend, we are myth. And the boy grew out of my head, where I had stuffed him on my shoulders, and I became his walker of worlds, galloping across fields, running away from the voices inside my head that eat my thoughts. This boy, uncle, has become my mind for me, minds me, soothes the voices, lies to the voices, tell them I have vanished into the mystery of myself, and the voices fall for it. I watch them retreat, I move my feet in giant steps, the boy growing out of my head, sees the world for me, tames the world for me, so that I can laugh, whinny and neigh, like the human hearse I have become, no longer confused, fused into one being, him and me drinking in the sunset, sniffing rain on the wind, galloping across time, time, time out of mind. Thank you. I once had the pleasure of having a heart attack, and of, as you can see, surviving. Heart attack is a very terrible experience. It's like a metal band goes across your chest and it's extremely tight and you think it can't get any more tighter, and it does, and it does, and it does, and the pain is awesome and incredible. And it just keeps going up and up and up, and then it comes to a time where it's just bliss. And you pass out and you think, you know what, I don't care. Lady Death comes, kisses you on the lips, and you just say, can I go with you? And she says, shh, not yet, not yet. But it was a very nice way to go if I'd gone. But as you can see, unfortunately for you, I'm still here and talking to you. So I wrote a poem called Your Littlest Smile. I was talking to my girl Philomena, and it was an ordinary breakfast morning, and I'd begun her name, and I was going to say Philomena, and I got as far as Philo, and then my face went as white as anything, my lips went purple, and she probably saved me. Not from any kindness, but she was very angry at me, and she actually knelt like my little girl on my knees, and she battered it against my chest and said, "Don't you die at me, you bastard!" And it was that. That's what probably brought me back. But time just stopped for me, and all the description is of filth. So this is called Your Littlest Smile. Death, rather diffident, rather shy, comes to me and says, "It is time to die." Okay, I say, when? Now, like this moment, this second. I struggle with my heart attack as death, feeling bad about it, repossesses my artifacts. Outside, a van pulls up with neat Gothic script. Death removals, it spells out in big bold letters. I like it. Death's got style and a nice smile and is a kind of groovy guy. Or is he? A lady? Boy, it's hard to tell. This heart attack hurts like hell. Okay, boys, take it all away. Death's little helpers, all big bruisers over 6'2", former nightclub bouncers all. They take away the blue sky on the which I had first kissed you. They take away the little day-to-day things I always loved. The shape of your mouth, your continuously falling hair brushed impatiently away from your eyes. Your eyes. The smell of your perfume in an empty room, the littlest of your smiles I had saved for a rainy day. Meanwhile, like a living Houdini, I had done it. Somehow wrestled out of the heart attack straitjacket. Damn! Death spat in a peevish manner. How in God's name did you do that? Death sighed. Okay, kid, you got me this time. Right, boys, put it all back. Put everything back. His boys scowled at me as if to say, I'll remember you, silly Jim. You! Death snarled from the side of his mouth. Annoyed now, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You! I'll see you again. A tear trickled down my cheek. Unable to speak, all I could do was glance down. Your littlest smile clasped tightly in my hand. Okay.
Worried the way you were pointing at me there.
Yes, yes. I was a bit worried about that too, John. I thought, my God, like this poor man. Like it. I have to find myself. Sorry. Myself and Jan have been ourselves only for the last 4 years. So this is a sort of anniversary poem of sorts. And it's called Sharing Winged Birds, if you know the Chinese legend of the sharing winged birds. A moon of the colour of sorrow, rain falling like regret, the memory of your beauty awakened by the music that tiptoes on moonlight feet, slowly, silently across the lawn. A cat immune to human emotion yawns, silhouetted against an autumn moon. He listens to our human words, more out of boredom than anything else, as if we were characters in a play, enacting words that will be forever spoken. Let us be sharing winged birds, that thing of legend, with only one eye, only one wing. Only by sharing wings can we fly. Chiselled into a night gone by, the words remain engraved upon the air. The cat wonders, how do humans do that, and why? He pads quietly through the words, the memory of us bristling his fur. You okay for time?
Yes, go on.
This is called Come Dancing. This is my first dancing partner. John is now my second dancing partner. We may dance verily unto you outside tomorrow.
We are planning that.
We are planning that.
Yeah.
And but my first dancing partner just happened to be a skeleton. As you can see, John has
I put on a bit of weight.
Put on a bit of weight since then. And the scene is set in my father's stores. He was in the army, and he kept a sports store. And I used to have him in his big vast ledgers, and I used to help him count all the items. And one of the items was balls, of course. So the medicine balls, soccer balls, but this is called Come Dancing. I take the skeleton's hand, and man, do we dance. I clasp his bony hand in mine, give him a high five, and dude, we jive. No one can touch us now. We're in a world of our own. We shake, rattle and roll. Shake, rattle and roll. We get into that kitchen and rattle them pots and pans. The skeleton flashes me a toothy grin. Man, you the one. You the one. What a groove we're in. The transistorized air is alive as song after song drives me on. The skeleton doesn't break sweat. Me, my scalp prickles. Sweat trickles down my spine. Sunlight spills in the window and the dust motes go wild. The skeleton places a bony hand on my clavicle and I place my hand on his sacroiliac. We waltz eye socket to eye socket and patella to patella. Gene Kelly sings, what a great day it's been, what a rare mood I'm in, why it's almost like being in love. He's a fine medical specimen. He dangles from a tread in his head and the slightest breeze moves him, gets him going. I call him Mr. Bojangles. He lives in my dad's army sports store. From the inner sanctum of his room, my dad's army voice booms, "Donald, leave that bloody skeleton alone!" And he goes back to counting his balls. The ledger grows and grows. He mutters and mumbles to himself. Balls, soccer, 50, 50. Balls, rugby, 50, 50. Balls, medicine, 50, 50. He intones as if chanting a mantra. I shuffle out, trying to be cool. In this heat, see you later, Bo. Years later, I see him in a tiny newspaper article. Apparently, the army realised they've got a real live skeleton on their hands and decide to do the decent thing, remembering the man he's been, and bury him with full military honours. Flag-draped coffin and shots fired into the air to scare the crows away. I wish I could have been there, said my goodbyes. I smile and whisper a little prayer. Yo, see you later, Bo. Okay. I shall finish with this one. This is called Oscailga, which means in Irish. Half of the poem actually is in Irish. I will translate as I go along. My wife and I, my Finnish wife and I, were trying desperately to have a baby. And we were having great fun trying, but there was no baby materialising. And we did test after fruitless test. And we'd only one last test to go. That's probably too much detail for you, John. But we were seeing whether the fallopian tubes were freed up. And we went to go for the fallopian tubes or cleared up test, and it was cancelled. And that was cancelled for 6 months. And then we went to the next one, and that was cancelled. About a year and a half later, we still didn't know whether fallopian tubes were open. But in that time, we fell pregnant. I guess we just stopped trying, I guess. And I became pregnant. Men often say, "Yo, look, I've become pregnant. My wife is doing it for me." Yes, thank you very much.
Nothing like delegation, is there?
So this is called, and then strangely enough, although I don't speak a lot of Irish, I wasn't brought up as an Irish speaker, all my Irish came back to me, all the little scraps, and I used to stitch them together like a patchwork of sound. And I'd sleep down by my wife's belly and I'd sing Irish songs to my child-to-be, so to speak. So that's where the first lullaby bit comes. So it goes like this, Oscailga in Irish. Dún de Sula, close your eyes. Cuddle go law ma gra sieve. Sleep until day, my gentle love. Cuddle go sov, sleep peacefully, peacefully. I rock and Gaelic Shaw is rockig and green shafi. This moon will rise, this sun will set. Aragus gra I goni, care and love always. Gach iha is gach law is gach iha. Every night, every day, every night. Ma plurine, ma storine, ma moorin, my little flower, my little treasure, my little darling. Achanish, but now, cuddle gasov gasive, sleep peacefully, gently, gafonia and lay, until the break of day, lemisha at the tafe, with me by your side. Losing our baby late into the night, holding this little thing that only attempted to be human, unable to let go, I clasped the fetus tightly in my hand and buried it in the dawn of our local park under a recently planted red rose bush. In my grief, flower and baby became one. And night after night, I climbed over high railings and even higher stars to talk to her in the dark in Irish, or sing my love is like a red, red rose, or cry, or cry. Almost got arrested one night by an Irish cop, drawn to the sound of Irish emerging from darkness. Guess he let me go because it wouldn't look good on a charge sheet. The defendant was talking and crying to a flower in Irish. Isht, isht, listen, listen. Dinna egan ekina. Someone is crying in Adarkason, in his darkness. Phil, Phil Aruno, oh, Phil Aruno is na imi Philarum akushla sto, oh, oh. Agus chifik tu unklo. Thank you.
So lovely to hear a different tradition of poetry. It is quite different to the English tradition. Absolutely lovely. Absolutely gorgeous. I loved it.
Anybody's got any questions? You can ask questions. You know. I'm available for bar mitzvahs and